What's going on, everybody? There was a little technical glitch there. That was not the opening for this show, but we'll just go ahead and get started. What's going on, everybody? I do want to thank you for joining us here on the Mission Ready Men podcast, here on the SHR Media Network, as you just saw, as you just saw right there. Today is Tuesday, December 17th, and we do have a pretty big show planned. We're going to talk about Trump's winning, the media losing, and Bribin going absolutely bananas with his pardon pen, and a whole lot more. But first, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this episode. The more you like and share, the more people we can reach. And even though Trump is winning, he won in November and he continues to win. And even though some of the big tech tyrants are bending the knee, publicly anyway, they're still suppressing our content. So you know what else you can do for us, though? Because of the opposition that we are facing, pray for us. Pray for us. The Bible says that the effective, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. So pray for us so that we can reach as many people as possible. But thank you for joining us here on the SHR Media Network, where you can catch all the other great shows. The Edge of Liberty with my friend Sackhead Sean, The Reaver of Common Sense with my friend Jersey Joe, and of course, BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon with the one and only Bloviating Zeppelin BZ. You can follow this show on all the socials at Mission Ready Men on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or X if you prefer. I don't, obviously. And for our merch, head over to missionreadymen.com, click shop. We do have a sale going on right now, 30% off. The code is MERRY. That sale is going on from now until New Year's. And obviously, if you order any apparel like this great shirt right here, or any of our other apparel, it's not going to get there by Christmas. That deadline has passed, but please go ahead and order. I mean, 30% off is 30% off, right? But we do have some non-apparel items that if you order today, will ship today. Keychains, hats, tumblers, things of that nature. So go ahead and check it out. And also carrygirl.com, our female line. Guys, if you want to get in good with the wife this Christmas or the girlfriend this Christmas, go ahead and order some stuff from there as well. Like I said, we have non-apparel items and gift cards, which you'll get immediately. So go ahead and check that out. All right. Now that business is out of the way, I believe that's everything. Let's get after it. Before we really dive into the stuff that I had initially prepared for the show, I do want to take a moment to recognize the victims of the shooting at the Abundant Life Christian School. 3 people lost their lives, a student, a teacher, and the shooter herself. She, rather than being taken into custody, she took her own life. It's a very sad situation, and it's something that we have to look at, and it's not as simple as banning the guns as the left has already called for in the wake of this shooting. Before victims had been identified, before anything any progress made in the investigation, they decided to go ahead and call for gun control, as they almost always do in these situations. I'm not going to get too much into the details on it because the situation is evolving. Um, the investigation is just underway, and I don't want to put too much out there that turns out to be factually incorrect. But I did want to talk about, well, the police chief leading the investigation. He actually said that the gender and how the shooter identified is of no consequence. Given the history, the recent history of the gender delusion movement and everything that's been going on, and all the different uh, violent acts and school shootings that have taken place, been perpetrated by gender confused, gender deluded individuals, to say that it's irrelevant, to say that it's of no consequence, is ridiculous. It was a Christian school. Christians are being vilified. Christians are under attack all over the world. How is and Christians have been at the forefront of leading the charge against the gender delusion movement. To say that that aspect of the investigation is irrelevant is just stupid. Just don't say anything. But it speaks to not only the gender delusion movement, but it speaks to a broader problem with just a lack of respect for human life. And there's another story that we're going to get to later on in the show that highlights this. But there is such a lack of respect for human life that people feel like it's justified to hurt people that they don't like, to hurt people that somehow they perceive, even though they don't know these people from Adam, but they perceive somehow that they've been wronged by this person, so it's okay to go ahead and shoot them or harm them in any number of other ways. And one other thing I just want to touch on before we move on, aside from the gun control aspect, this was a Christian school, and the shooter was a student at this school. As much as a Christian school is better than public schools, we need to seriously consider getting back to a homeschool environment, because we just can't keep doing this, especially if they're going to fight us every step of the way when it comes to protecting kids and not allowing armed security, not allowing police, not allowing teachers to be armed. If we're gonna keep allowing these soft targets at these schools, you need to pull your kids out of these schools, public or private. This situation kind of speaks to that itself. We need to seriously consider getting as many of our kids out of these schools as we can, public, private, or whatever, and make the hard choices, make the sacrifices, build community schools with neighboring families. Do something other than, because this isn't working. This isn't working. And like I said, as long as they fight us on hardening these schools, this is going to continue to happen. And it's not the gun. It's not the gun. Biden called for an assault weapons ban after this shooting. The shooting was perpetrated with a handgun. So, and we like I said, I don't want to get too far down the road on that, but we don't know how it was obtained and all that. So I'm just going to leave that there for now. We are going to get into it a little deeper in another story, but this was a tragedy all around, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the families who were affected by this tragedy. All right, switching gears to something less somber. The winning just keeps happening. The winning just keeps happening. Trump settled his defamation suit against George Stephanopoulos and ABC, and they were ordered to pay, well, ABC was ordered to pay $15 million, which apparently is going to be donated to Trump's library. And George Stephanopoulos was ordered to pay $1 million of his own money to Trump. So the winning just keeps happening. The winning just keeps happening, and I am here for it all. The reason why Trump sued ABC, and it's I don't know why these people continue to do this, but George Stephanopoulos, in an interview with Nancy Mace, where he pressed her on why she's supporting Donald Trump, who had been at the time, this interview took place back in March, who had at the time been accused of rape, not credibly accused, by the way, but had been accused of rape, or actually he had been on trial for a civil trial for rape. And well, take a look at this interview, because I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's a little over 2 minutes long, and I'm going to pause it and comment on it as things happen. But this is why he sued ABC.
Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining.
Nope, wrong, wrong video. We are going to get into that a little later. But basically, what happened is I'm not gonna waste time trying to search for that. But basically, what happened, he sorry about that. Basically, what happened, he was interviewing Nancy Mace. He kept referring to President Trump as being found liable for rape, and was trying to shame her because she had been is a victim of rape, and was saying how could she possibly support a guy who'd been found liable for rape. And he used that phrase about 10 times in that 2 or 3 minute interview. And Trump said, no, I am not a rapist, have not been found guilty of rape, and I'm going to sue. And he won. Like I said, the winning just keeps happening. And the left is all up in arms about it. They have this idea about themselves that they are untouchable, that basically whatever comes out of their mouth is the gospel truth, and we just have to deal with it. Just like with the so-called experts. Neil deGrasse Tyson said something last week about how we just need to blindly follow the scientists, because otherwise we'll die. I'm paraphrasing, but that was basically the gist of what he said. And the left feels the same way about the American Pravda. They are the only purveyors of truth, and And for them to be sued for what they see as the truth is dangerous and authoritarian. Nothing could be further from the truth. Well, maybe the things that they say on air every night could be further from the truth. But seriously, they think that if it's not from them, if it's not from ABC, NBC, MSDNC, CNN, if it's not from them and contradicts them, then it's a lie. When the exact opposite is almost always true. These people lie for a living. They're propagandists. They're not news anchors. They're not journalists. There are very few journalists out there right now. Actual journalists are the people on alternative media, people on X, people on Rumble. I'm not claiming to be a journalist by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not. I wanted to be a journalist at one point when I was a kid, but I am just an opinion commentator looking at what I see and commenting on it and trying to point out what the truth actually is. Sift through all the nonsense from the left and the right. There are some propagandists on the right too. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's only from the left. That's no. But at the same time, it is far more prevalent coming from the left side of the spectrum. So Trump won that suit, and he's going to sue. He's going to sue some more because the Des Moines Register and their pollster had that poll just before the election that said that Kamala was going to win Iowa. We all knew that was just straight up nonsense. We all knew it, and she's making the rounds now, saying, "Well, what possible motive could I have had to fake that poll? What possible motive could I have had?" And we've gone through all our data. Yeah, they've gone through all the data. They've double checked everything, and their findings are legit. Come on. We all know that is a bull-faced lie. So we'll see how that goes. I hope the suits keep coming, and I hope we keep winning them or Trump keeps winning them, because the only way this kind of propaganda from the left is going to stop is if he keeps suing them and winning. That's it. All right. Before we move on, I want to get a word from our sponsor. And this week, our sponsor is Patriot Mobile. And now more than ever, it is important that we support companies and organizations that support us, that share our values. And even though voting has been important, and even though voting turned out in our favor this time, it's not enough. Patriot Mobile is the only wireless carrier that shares our beliefs and does something about it. They have been on the ground fighting child sex trafficking. They have been on the ground at the border. They have been tremendous in the things that in the causes that they support. They're America's only Christian conservative wireless carrier, and they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes that you and I care about. So switch to Patriot Mobile now and get a free month of service with the offer code Jackson. Go to Patriot Mobile, use the promo code Jackson, or visit patriotmobile.com/Jackson and get a free month of service with that offer code. Visit patriotmobile.com/Jackson today. All right. We talked a while back. I think it was maybe a week, 2 weeks ago. We talked about how the left loves to celebrate when things go wrong, when people on the right, people that they disagree with, get hurt. What's her name? Expressing joy, Taylor Lorenz, that wretched human being, expressing joy at the murder of healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And it wasn't just her. She was the most prominent figure, but I mean, she was expressing that joy in the context of all the other people on various social media platforms who were expressing joy at his murder. And it's escalating. It's escalated to the level of hero worship, I guess you could say, because we had we had commentators talking about how showing the killer's pictures and talking about how his abs were this and that, and these people are just, it's, well, I need to be a little bit more Christian because something almost slipped out just then. But it's gotten to the point of hero worship with these people, and there is a huge red flag when it comes to this with these people. There's a sign in Seattle, and they did a news story on it. We're going to show you the video here in a second. Well, you know what? Let's just take a look at it. The sign, it's an electronic traffic sign. You see it everywhere you go, and it's vile, and but it's not all that surprising. It really is not all that surprising if you've been paying attention and you think about everything that these people do. Take a look at this video that we're going to show you here in a second. It's a news story out of Seattle, and it's just unbelievable.
We are asking a number of questions this morning about a really disturbing message. It was found posted on one of those portable electronic road messaging signs right off of Highway 99 near Lake Union in Seattle overnight. So look at the message here that our photographer found near Dexter Avenue in the northbound lanes of the highway there. It reads, "One less CEO, many more to go." We don't know who's responsible for this message, which agency operates the sign, whether it's WashDOT.
One less CEO, many more to go. I mean, what possesses somebody? What kind of what's going through your head when you do something like that? To not only think of something like that, but to actually act and put that on display. It's mind-boggling.
SDOT or a private company, and how this could have happened. So we're certainly going to let you know what we find out when we get some answers. It appears that message was up for at least an hour overnight. It's now off. And in the last 30 minutes, we did some digging. We learned that on average, nearly 62,000 people use the Aurora Bridge every day. That bridge is near the area where this message was spotted on that sign. Another question that we're asking right now is the motive behind the message on that sign. This discovery this morning obviously comes.
Well, we know the motive. We know the motive. It's these people who are hero worshiping this guy for murdering the CEO of a healthcare company that they think, for whatever reason, has harmed them in some way. There's so many aspects of that make absolutely no sense, but the CEO is not the one making the decision as to whether or not this procedure or that procedure gets covered. The CEO is you could make the argument that he is the captain of the ship and therefore he's responsible, but in reality, he's a CEO far removed from a lot of those decisions. He may set general policy, but he's not having these claims come across his desk and say, "Yeah, we're going to approve that one and deny that one." That's not how it works. And it's not just this sign in Seattle. There were wanted posters all over Manhattan after this shooting, with the pictures of other CEOs that these people feel were worth killing. And so obviously a lot of these CEOs now have upped their security, and a lot of the security firms are scrambling to try and accommodate all the different requests that are coming in, because these people need protection from these lunatics. And speaking of lunatics, there is another lunatic out there who has taken the wanted poster thing to a whole new level. And I don't know if you remember back during the first Gulf War, a lot of the high level targets that the military was going after, they had playing cards with their faces on them. Well, this guy has decided that was such a good idea that he is going to create playing cards for most wanted CEOs. This guy is a socialist, and he was inspired by those playing cards distributed by the U.S. coalition forces. But those people were war criminals, and here he is going after, basically putting a target on CEOs' backs, and it's one of the sickest, most disgusting things I can think of. And he's already got the cards aren't available yet, but he's already got a list of CEOs that he's planning on putting on these cards. And people commenting, I think this is on Instagram, people commenting, does it include addresses? These people are lunatics. These people seriously think that it is okay to kill a CEO. These people have absolutely no respect for human life. These are the people who think that until a baby takes their first breath out of the birth canal, that it's okay to kill them. I mean, that's what this boils down to. No respect for human life. No respect for. It's not just infuriating. I mean, it's not just mind-boggling. It's infuriating that these people just have so little regard for human life that they just think, yeah, you make me mad, I'm gonna kill you. I'll create playing cards and distribute them so people can see who the targets are, and they can go kill them. It's sick, man. It's sick and it's vile. And it's yet another sign. I talked about last week how people are saying the world is healing itself. Though not when you have stuff like this going on. There's still a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of prayers to be said. There's still a lot of we just need to come back to God. That's all it boils down to. This is a manifestation of the fact that we have turned so far away from God that this type of stuff is seen as normal to a lot of people. Not to people like you and I, you and me. We think it's disgusting. But there are so many people out there. There's a market for these playing cards with CEOs' faces on them so that you can go kill them. There was a time not that long ago when something like that would have been unthinkable. But yet here we are because we've turned our back on God. And so I'm here to try and pull us back, because this can't go on. This is unsustainable. This is unsustainable for a society to have such little regard for human life that they're just going to go around killing people. And then the people who do commit these crimes are celebrated by half the country. That is completely unsustainable and completely unacceptable. We can't have this. We cannot have this. And speaking of things that are unsustainable and things that we just can't allow to continue, and thankfully, in I think 34 days, it will end. But in the meantime, we have a lot to be on the lookout for. And first on that list, well, I wouldn't say first on the list, but on the list is Biden bribing, and he's just going absolutely nuts. And obviously, I don't think it's him personally. I think it's his puppeteers who are using him, because he has gone absolutely bananas with his pardon pen. He commuted the sentences of 1,500. Well, he commuted the sentences of 1,500 people, pardoned 39, and among the people whose sentences he commuted was the Kids for Cash judge, Michael Conahan, who, this guy got $2.1 million worth of kickbacks when he sentenced juveniles to for-profit prisons. And he just commuted his sentence. He funneled juveniles to for-profit detention facilities for $2.1 million in kickbacks, and he commuted his sentence. Former Luzerne County Judge Michael Conahan, the jurist at the center for the so-called Kids for Cash scandal, was among 1,500 other commutations that he did the other day. This was the largest act of clemency in a single day in modern history. And we're going to get into some of the other commutations that he did, but this is that he hates us. He hates us and the people who he surrounded himself with, who are now running the show. And I don't think he ever really ran much of anything, quite honestly. But the people he surrounded himself with, or the people Obama surrounded him with, hate us. They hate Americans. What other explanation could there be for commuting the sentence of a guy like that? Another sentence he commuted was a city official who stole $53 million from a small town in Illinois. I'm looking for her name right now. Rita Crundwell embezzled $53 million from her town, and he commuted her sentence as well. Now, if you're in jail for some nonviolent drug offense, sure, I can hear arguments for commuting that sentence, and I can even listen to arguments for commuting the sentence of somebody who was who was put in jail for assault, depending on the circumstances. But come on, you put a bunch of kids in jail for money, and one of the kids, there's a video going around. I don't have it in front of me right now, but there was a video of a woman whose son committed suicide while he was in one of these facilities, and he shouldn't have been. I mean, just unconscionable some of the crimes that some of the criminals that he's letting out of jail. Just the crimes that they committed have been vile crimes. And yeah, they're not violent, but still, they need to pay a price. They need to pay the full freight. And for him to let these people out is just ridiculous. But it's not just these people. Biden also commuted the sentences of 3 Chinese spies. Well, I take that back. He commuted the sentences of 2 Chinese spies and 1 pedophile. That's right, a pedophile. These Chinese spies were convicted of stealing American tech secrets. Yanjun Zhu and Ji Shaoquin, and if I'm not pronouncing those names right, I really don't care, but they were both convicted of espionage. And these were not included, I need to clarify, these were not included in the 1,500 that he just did. But somehow this slipped below the radar. I pay attention to this stuff, and I didn't hear about it until it came under the umbrella of these other 1,500 that he did. But then, after he commuted the sentences of the two spies, he commuted the sentence of a guy who was accused of having thousands of images of child pornography on his computer. And I don't know about you, but pedophiles do not belong anywhere in polite society. If you're going to keep them alive, then they need to be in jail. And the left is trying to clean this up, saying that it was a prisoner swap, and China released Americans who were falsely imprisoned over in China. Do you really think that this guy is going to serve any time in China? No, absolutely not. I haven't been able to find any reports of what happened to them once they were returned to China. I know the spies have been probably given a royal welcome. The pedophile, I haven't been able to find anything on him, but I seriously doubt that that they incarcerated him over there. I seriously doubt it. There is nothing that anyone can say to me that could justify letting that guy out of jail. Nothing. I know we got back Americans. That's great. That is fantastic. We should have figured out another way to get them back. I'm not even comfortable letting the 2 spies go, but I understand that. I understand letting the spies go in return for some of our hostages over there. I get that. I can reluctantly accept that. But the pedophile, I can't get with that. And that only raises questions about Biden bribing and his handlers, that they would consider letting a pedophile go unless they have similar predilections. And I think we all know, I think there's ample evidence to support that about bribing. But I'll have some links to some of these stories in the show notes, and you can take a look for yourself. And if you can find what happened to that pedophile over in China, let me know, because I'd love to find out what happened to him. And continuing on this theme of the bribing DOJ and letting these spies and pedophiles off the hook, we're going to go circle back to that just reminded me of Peppermint Patty, but we're going to circle back to the winning for a second, because the IG report that was just released a couple days ago basically is more winning for Trump and for those of us who have been paying attention as a whole, because we knew from the beginning that the FBI had agents on the ground on January 6th. And as much as they tried to deny it, they just lie. They lie like it's breathing to them. And we're going to get into another liar here later on if we have time. But they lie, but we knew it. We knew that they had FBI agents on the ground. And there are people out there who have sources. I don't have the sources myself. I'm getting this secondhand, but there are people out there with sources who have been told point blank that they had agents on the ground. But this IG report shows that there were 26 FBI informants, not agents, informants on the ground. And knuckleheads like Joe Walsh and other leftists who are saying that when we say that there were agents on the ground, this IG report proves that there weren't agents on the ground. No, this proves the exact opposite. The IG report shows that there were 26 confidential human sources, federal informants in DC and on the ground at the Capitol. And the FBI is saying that there were no direct employees of the agency. I don't believe that for a second, because There is absolutely no way that there were that many confidential human sources on the ground. There was no way that there were that many on the ground, and there were no agents anywhere around acting as their handlers. They really think we're stupid because confidential human sources aren't just recruited one day and then thrown into the mix the next day. That takes time. It takes time to develop them. It takes time to train them. And it doesn't happen overnight. We have Kash Patel talking about that on Timcast, and I'm going to play that video in a second. But it just doesn't make any sense on any level to have that many confidential human sources, that many assets on the ground, and there not be any agents anywhere in the vicinity. That doesn't make any sense on any level. And here's Kash Patel basically making that exact point.
Defender who defended all these types of cases. What you need to show is whether or not the FBI and government agents were using undercover operatives and informants on the day of January 6th, because if you can show that, you know they've been at, hang on, but the paperwork shows having run informants, that's a 6-month buildup minimum. Right. Minimum. It's not.
There it is. 6-month buildup minimum.
Not like they just dropped them into the Proud Boys and said, hey, go, don't disrupt, please. So once you prove that, then you defeat the insurrection narrative with the FBI's own documentation. Forget what the videotape shows.
Just for people who you can't see what's going on in the room, the reason why Kash just said hang on or whatever is because I started smirking and rolling my eyes. And what I meant to convey with that is, come on, we know they were involved.
No, look, I totally
clarify,
agree.
though.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I know
Absolutely.
definitively. What I'm saying is a reasonable suspicion is that there were agents. There's a video showing a guy with an earpiece pulling people into the building. All right.
Mm-hmm.
You combine that with the evidence of Ray Epps, and it looks like you have a preponderance of evidence suggesting there may have been federal law enforcement involved in making that thing happen.
I'll get you beyond a reasonable doubt.
All
Two
right.
pieces of information. Ray Epps was on FBI's most wanted list one day, and the next day he was off of the FBI's most wanted list. There are only two ways that happens. You die or your informant. Put that aside. Under congressional testimony, Jill Sanborn, who I used to work with, the head of the FBI Counterintelligence Division, in charge of all these investigations, testified under oath when Senator Cruz asked her, flat out, were there federal agents involved with January 6th? And she said, quote, Senator, I can't answer that at this time. Not if the answer was definitively no, having been a DOJ FBI guy myself, she would have gone there and said, nope, absolutely not.
Yep.
The reason she said I can't answer that is because of the same stonewalling they gave us during Russiagate with Christopher Steele, Halper, and everybody else. It's the same narrative, and I'm telling you they were there.
So you're saying that she said I can't answer that because the answer is yes,
Yeah.
and that would compromise whatever their operation was.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like we needed Kash Patel to tell us this. This is, I mean, even if you don't have any background in law enforcement, any background in federal investigations, it's just common sense. It's just common sense that what went down, there had to be, especially now that we know beyond a reasonable doubt that there were confidential human sources, FBI assets on the ground that day. Now that we know that for sure, I mean, we all knew it, but now that there is actual documentation proving it, there is no possible way that there were not FBI agents on the ground, actual FBI agents, employees on the ground that day, running the operation. There is no way you can convince me otherwise. No way. And the funny thing about this is Now, all of a sudden, leftists like Stephen A. Smith are acting all brand new, upset that the federal government is lying to us. Well, fool, we've been telling you that forever. We've been telling you that forever. For as long as this has been going on, we've been telling you they're lying. This isn't true. There were agents on the ground, blah, blah, blah. This, that, the other. We've been telling you this. And now all of a sudden, you want to act brand new. Come on. This is, I mean, better late than never, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see if that lasts with him and people like him, because I have my doubts. I seriously have my doubts. All right, I'm running out of time. I got a little long-winded on some of that. A couple of things I wanted to touch on before we go. I talked about how the left has no regard for human life. And I talked about on this show probably 6 months ago about how countries in Europe, like the Netherlands and Belgium, have these euthanasia programs where they're allowing people as young as 16 to participate in medical assisted suicide. And now it turns out that Canadistan, as I've taken to call, I didn't make that up. I saw that somewhere and I like it, so it stuck. Canadistan, 20% of all of the deaths that have occurred in that country in 2023 were euthanasia or assisted self-deletion. And it's not just, let me go ahead and pull this up. It's not just that they're helping people delete themselves who have terminal illnesses, who are elderly. Not that makes it okay, even if that were true. It's that's still not okay. But they're allowing people who are homeless. They're allowing people who have some mental health issue, people who are in pain, people who, for whatever reason, are feeling hopeless and just think the only way out of this is to die. And the government is doing it. And here's the thing. Canada has the type of healthcare system that the left wants in this country. And this medical assistance in dying, MAID as they call it, their program, is just a natural extension of the universal health care that they want in this country. Because if the government is paying for paying for your treatment, if they can push you into medically assisted self-deletion, if they can push you into that and cut their costs, well, that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to do. And when we were having that discussion with Obamacare back in the day, and we were saying that this is going to lead to medical boards, and they're going to deny treatment because it's going to cost too much, and death panels, as it was coined back then. No, that would never happen. Well, right next door in Canadistan, they're doing it, and 5% of all the deaths in Canada are euthanasia and assisted self-deletion. 13,500 people in 2023. They're saying that the median age group was more than 77. but that's not everyone. And this is happening all over the world right now. Okay, maybe that's a bit hyperbolic, but it's happening in Europe, in several countries. The left, this, if we're not careful, this is going to happen here. This is what they want. As I said earlier, they hate you. And because they hate you, and especially conservatives, if they can help you in deleting yourself, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And again, this is just an extension of the lack of respect and regard for human life. It's disposable. You are disposable. Your life is worthless to them, especially if they end up having to bear the cost of treating you for some illness. If it's going to be cheaper to delete you, that's what they're going to do. And they have no problem admitting it, obviously. So we need to avoid what's happening in Kanadistan and make sure that it doesn't happen here. I mean, we're already fighting this battle with Planned Parenthood and abortion. Can you imagine if we allowed this to happen? We can't do that. We cannot do that. All right. Like I said, I'm running out of time. I could go on there, but I wanted to talk about the drone stuff that's going on. I don't really have a whole lot to add to it. It's been all over the place. I might touch on it next time we're together. Like I don't have any sources. I don't have anything to say other than a few ideas, a few thoughts that I have that probably a lot of people are thinking. Just real quick, the government knows what this is. These drones are over our military bases. They're not shooting them down. So either they're stealing our technology, they're allowing foreign adversaries to surveil us, or they're testing their own technology. There are so many questions. The fact is they know what it is. They know what it is, and they're not telling us. And well, I got to go because like I said, I'm running out of time, and that's another one that I could go on about, even though like I said, I don't have any sources telling me what the deal really is. But before we go, real quick, on a much lighter note, Jamal Bowman, congressman from New York, he lost his race and gave his farewell speech. In the hall of Congress, and just take a look at how many people showed up to witness his farewell speech. 3. That's Jamal Bowman right there, and it's kind of hard to see. It won't let me expand it. That's Ayanna Pressley, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and this is Cori Bush, who was also giving her farewell speech. A total of 3 people showed up to witness their farewell speeches in Congress. I think that is absolutely hilarious. All right, folks. That's all I got for you today. I ran a little over, but I will try to do better the next time. Please remember to like and subscribe. Share these videos, share these episodes so that we can continue to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, spread the message of hope and liberty to as many people as we possibly can, and preserve it for our future generations. Also, don't forget to check out missionreadymen.com and shop 7 Armors. Get this cool design: Christian, straight, male, unwoke, unvaxxed, meat eater. How else can I offend you today? I think that's a fantastic shirt. Also, check out carrygirl.com. We have non-apparel items that we can ship today if you order today. So you're not going to guarantee that they'll get there for Christmas, but we will do our best to make sure it happens if you order today. So go ahead and check that out: missionreadymen.com, 7 Armors, and carrygirl.com. And as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.